Hi guys, welcome to the call, and let me get everything set up and then we'll start the webinar. We'll pause the record and I'm doing a sound test, so give me a yes if you can hear me okay. Okay, loud and clear. Perfect. We have some high winds outside, so if you hear the winds howling, it's because we got a front moving through, I guess, in Dallas. So Wayne, welcome.
Yeah, hi everyone.
So can you see my screen, the Geek Out Fridays?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Guys, we're gonna have fun today. This is something that finding and researching RSS feeds, I've been doing this for years. And it's kind of my fault is I take for granted that everybody else can do this just as easily as I can. And I've found through many conversations on Skype and Facebook Messenger that probably if we spent a little bit of time, if Wayne and I showed how we did it, it might be a little bit easier for you to understand how to find the best RSS feeds out there and how to use them with RSSMasher technology. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I've got several screens I'll be bringing over to this presentation. But everything I do, this is exactly how I do it to find RSSMasher technology or RSS feeds for the mash. And I say this because when I'm doing site builds, either for customers or for myself, people ask, what do you spend the most time on? Well, it's exactly this, is I want to find RSS feeds. I want to find the best ones that have some good content, good pictures, that I can do anchor text swaps and I can do money links with. So we're going to go ahead and get started now. And Wayne, just feel free at any time. If you want to add to it, just let me know.
Yeah, will do.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about RSS feed automation tips. Now, I use the word automation because RSS feeds drive our content in the AutoBlogs. And we want to make sure we have good content, good pictures, and good image, good titles. So how do you find the best RSS feeds? Well, I'm going to break it kind of down into three parts, is finding, reviewing or researching, and using. So these are some tools that I use. And this is old school, where I just visit the site itself. That's kind of, this one here is how I do a lot of my own research. So let me get started. I'm going to bring over this first screen, and we're going to talk about RSS Ground and Feedly. And then we're going to do a software application that I still use. I don't use it as frequently, but it's Feed Finder by Deborah Allen. And then there's this new app. It's okay, but it does Google News. So if you want Google News, the problem is it cuts the description down to 1 or 2 sentences. And then we'll visit site visit. So I'm going to bring this window over. Now, what I'm looking for, and we'll just have some examples here real quick. I'm using a program called RSS Ground. RSS Ground has a lot of options with it, where you can get content, you can do Google News feeds, Bing Search, Flickr, and you can even bring in data feeds for Amazon and eBay. I don't use this as often as I should because I actually have my own ad networks that I'm using inside of my sites. But if you want to fill your WordPress post up with Amazon feeds or eBay feeds, you can certainly do this. And they have a WordPress poster, create content, widget, WordPress poster. So if you're doing an Amazon feed, you don't really need to go through RSSMasher Tech. You can just use this WordPress poster or Blogger poster if you want to do that. But here's what I use it for right here. This is 9 times out of 10 when I come into RSS Ground, this is what I'm using. Now, today I'm gonna use as one of my examples is drones. I'm building Busy Bee Films up with some drone posts, drone feeds. So I'm going to show you several different ways to find these drone news feeds. Also, I have Wayne, give me another example that we can use today in doing this.
What, like a niche?
Yeah, just pick a niche.
Photography.
Photography. Okay. So let's talk about drones first. Now, this is how I do it. Drones. Now, it's going to give me a whole bunch of sources, feed sources. But what I want to do is I want to filter the search results here. And I'm going to go by relevance, all sizes. I want full content. I don't want just partial content. I want English and I want articles. Okay. So now it's kind of sorted by relevance. So let's take a look at this one. Drones play. This is, and I'm noticing a lot of Chinese in here. So this may not be the one that I want. In fact, it isn't. So I just kill that one there. And let's come down and look at the next one. Drones globe. Okay, this is interesting. It's got good image. I noticed there's at least 2 or 3 lines of content. Top 10 drones you can buy for less than $200. These are great articles right here. 7 drones. Anytime I see a list and some pricing comparison, this will be searched. This will be clicked on my Twitter. This will be clicked in Facebook because that's what people are interested in. Is a listing for under $100. I would click through to this. So let's see what happens if you click through. It's going to take you over to Drones Globe. And he's done a really good job. You notice he has his own ads in here. And he's got his list here. This is a list sickle. That's basically what he's built. So he's done a pretty good job. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this feed, and I think I'm going to come in here to my manage mashes, and I'm going to build a mash holding spot just because I want to review the feeds and see the content. So drone feeds. Yeah, I'm not gonna do anything here, but give it a tag. It's gonna go in Busy Bee Films. That's the WordPress site I'm gonna send it to. And I might have to check that box, but let's see first. I'm gonna hit update. I'm gonna hit add. And I'm gonna add the feed. So I wanna make sure it verifies. So that one didn't verify. So that, oh, I know why, because I didn't copy it correctly. That's probably why. So let's go back over here to
So open in a 3rd tab, copy, that's it.
There we go. Okay, we're going to come back and look at this XML later. So I'm going to go back in here, and there we go. That should go across. Okay, now I'm going to jump over here to money hooks. And I'm going to do this. I'll show you why I'm doing this. Is I'm going to put a line here, and this will make sense in a second here. I'm going to put my citation. Now, this is before I add any additional money hooks. I want to see where this is coming from, that everything's being quoted correctly. I'm going to give a reference back to the source. And I come up here to build and hit build. And then preview web. Okay, this is going to look good. This is going to look good on the site. Now, what I'm looking for is the end of the article. So he's got a full article in here, and I know it's the end of the article when I see my citation source in here. And conclusion. Okay, there's the end of that article. So he has full content in the article published. So I'm noticing several things here. Is we have an author, we have a real author, Vito Dronelli, and we have a title, it's sourced correctly, and it's a published date. So 24th of April, keep that in mind as we're going through here. This is all the DJIs. In fact, the Mavic Pro, if you're going to get one, but the Mavic Air came out with their version 2, and this is a hot little seller right now. But I'm going to try to come down to find the bottom here of this post. Did I miss it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 23rd of April. So I'm noticing something here is I'm getting the frequency is up, meaning it's 1 per day. It looks like I've got a good full content. I've got a good image popping up. And I've got some, see best offer. And because this guy's done such a good job, I may even leave his links in there and not take any of the links out. Because what I'm doing on Busy Bee Films is I'm building traffic first and foremost. Okay, 18th of April. So he's got maybe 3 or 4 within the last couple of weeks. So this may work. So what I would do is come back up here to RSSMasher, and I can hit finish and activate. So that's all it takes to look and research this article. Now, Joe has a great question. As I'm in drone feeds, let's go back to it. Now, this is when I finish and I'm finally ready to go. This is what I do. Joe, I think we may be thinking the same thing here. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to go ahead and strip the HTML. I'm going to keep the images. I'm going to restrict the article length to 3,000 characters. Now, Wayne has added a feature when we do this with the read more tag. We don't have to do anything else, right, Wayne?
That's right.
Okay.
Now you have to, there's a token.
So I do need to put a token in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you might gave you the option that you may not want to do it.
Okay. So let's do the read more token. And it's this right here. Insert token. And paste it right here. Okay. Now this is typically right there after the read more. This is where I would put my custom tokens, my money hooks. And because I don't have any drone custom tokens, I'm going to use my barbecue recipes just for examples here. And these are all Amazon links. So I'll post that there and hit update. Okay, so let's go over and see what it looks like. I'm going to go back here to build, hit build. And then I'm going to hit preview web. Okay, so we're still seeing the same thing here, fastest drones. And if you notice, we got the character count kicking in. And I try healthy barbecue recipes. I thought I used to have an Amazon rotator in there where I would have Amazon pictures, but This is just a link to barbecue recipes on PaleoQ. Okay. So that's the end of the first article. And again, we've got a limiter on here. So 3,000 characters and boom, read more. There's my money hook. Read more, money hook. And then I'll go ahead and put the full citation in there. So this is where I want to put the money hooks. And I'm going to come back up here. And if you'll notice, when we stripped out the HTML, some of the HTML is gone. So, you know, this will work for me. This is perfect. This is exactly what I need to send over. Now, I will hit finish and activate, and that mash is ready to go. So it didn't take any time at all to go through the workflow process to get there. Yeah, let's go back over here and let's look at some more. Drones Club. And when I don't see an image there, I kind of know it may not be a full post, but I'm going to look at it anyway. Yeah, so no images. And the titles are kind of boring. Dronestagram. Let's look at it. Okay, I love these pictures. They're all, I think they're called vertical shots, where it's looking straight down. And sometimes it's interesting to see what they're actually looking at. Now, this is all military stuff. So, you know, I may not want that. Let's see, drones photography. I love the photography stuff. Okay, Apple Pay product. Okay, unbelievable fun little racing. This is okay. Racing quadcopter. So he's got pictures of drones. I'm really interested in pictures that the drones take. So I come down, drones mag. Okay, this is just products here. And the drone girl always has some good stuff in there. So I'm going to come over here and, oops. Well, I guess her feed is down right now. So this might be interesting here. Drone racing life. So let's go to the Mavic drone. I know they always have really good pictures here. I got a few of them in here. So here's what I would do on the drone Maverick. Let's copy it. And I want you to see, there are a lot of articles coming out. 5/1. Everything's coming out May 1st. So I'm looking here. This is the 490. That means there's 490 articles coming out. I think this is per week. So that's a lot of articles. So I need the power of RSSMasher to take over right here. So I'm going to copy this. Copy it. Now this is where RSSMasher really comes in handy here. Manage Mash, I'm going to hit add. DJI Mavic Pro. And I'm going to strip out, come down here. I'm just going to go ahead and do this up front so you can see it's fast to do. It won't take long to do. Let's put it up, Busy Bee Films. And what I want is extract articles with images only. So you notice there were some that didn't have any images, and I don't want them in there. Embed YouTube, and I'll go ahead and I'm going to copy the description into the content. Hit update. And now I'm going to come over here to website feed, paste that one in. Okay, now before I do anything else, let's just go over and look at it and see what it's going to look like first. And you can hit this build as many times as you want. No data. It's interesting.
Probably because the only articles in there hadn't got any images.
Let's test that theory. That's probably exactly true. Extract articles with images only. So if you see no data, there's a reason for it. And they're in the RSS feed, they're probably not inside of the proper tagging of images. Yeah, preview web, that's it. So there's no images at all in that grouping. And that's no problem because we're going to come over here to image replace. And I think I have a drone pack in here. I've got text, so I'll just pretend like that said drone on it. Random image replacement, first image. I always put 100 in here. And this is the important box. Add featured image to text-only articles. We'll hit update. Come over here to build. Build. Preview web. Okay. Now I know these images, they don't match up at all, but you can see this is how easy it is to create a very active RSS feed with images. Now, here's my comments on this. This is not a feed that I would use to create a blog post because it's considered a thin feed. If you'll notice, there's only one or two sentences, one sentence, one or two sentences there. This won't make for a very good blog post at all. So I'm not going to use it. But where I could use it is if I want to send it to Twitter, if I want to send it to Tumblr, and I just want to have content. So I could use this as Twitter food. So let's come back over here, and instead of Busy Bee Films, just so I know in the future, it's going to Twitter food. Okay, does that make sense what I just did here? Is I'm just going to, because it doesn't have any content. Now, typically what I'm going to have in here is a drone image pack, which I've made them, they're just not there right now. But I would have drones in here versus just tech. And I can send it off to Twitter. So when I do that, I'm going to come over here to schedule. Let's hit update. And we're going to pretend like we're manage bashes. And because it's Twitter food, let's change it to active here. So I would come over here to schedule, manage schedule. And I'm going to hit add drone. Pro. And I'm going to select Twitter food. And let's DJI Mavic Pro, and I'll just do one post per day, copy that. I need to update that template. It's actually doing 2 posts a day. Give my timing, let's put maybe variation in there, make it active. Keep it in Twitter food, hit update. I'm gonna come down here, grab a Twitter feed, and now it's going to ask me which one I want to use. And let's put it under video leads. Now, on this one, I'm just going to post back to the original article link. I'm going to use Rightly. I'm going to give it a little pizzazz, do 2 tags. I'm going to auto emoji and hit link processor. I'm building content for my Twitter accounts. Now, here's the cool thing. On the RT Army, which we're going to announce the winners at the end of the call here, I'm going to come in here and add the RT Army. Wow. We've got 193 soldiers in the Army. And I'm going to hit update. Now, Wayne, tell me what that's going to do right there.
Right. When the contest is over, we're going to switch the service on that will basically take into effect what the army is going to do. Now, you see how easy it was to add. You just select it and that's it. Now in the background, the system's going to randomly select any of the 193 we've got now. So it's going to randomly choose which ones to retweet your tweet, which you can see there above, which is video leads.
Yeah.
So that's the tweet. Obviously, you can't add an army unless you've put a tweet record in, because you won't know what you want to retweet. So it will randomly select any of the 193 and it will retweet your tweet. Now, it doesn't do it all in one go. It staggers it and it randomly chooses a time for every one of the retweets between 5 minutes and 2 hours. So let's say it decided to choose randomly 65 of those accounts. Then it will retweet some of them. It could pick, the first one could be in 6 minutes, the second one could be in 25, the third one could be in 40 minutes, and so on. And two of them could be in 2 hours. Completely random. So it randomly selects, it randomly chooses a time to wait before it does the retweet. Now the clever bit is, in Twitter's eyes, if you retweet a tweet, then you must have seen the tweet on your timeline. And probably the only way you've done that is because you follow somebody. So you're looking on your Twitter and you go, oh, that's nice, I'll retweet it. So for us to just retweet lots of tweets is a bit unnatural. So what it does first is it checks to see if the soldier in the army actually follows you. And if it doesn't, it will follow you. But it won't then retweet straight away. It will wait until the next time the army is running, which is usually about 5 to 6, 7 minutes, something like that, depending on how busy it is. And then the next time round, it will go, oh, there's a tweet here to retweet. Oh, I follow you, so I'll do it. So basically what's happening is you're getting new followers to your Twitter account, and then you're getting retweets, all done randomly. Hope that explains it.
Yeah, this is kind of like a private Twitter network. So think of it this way. If you had 193 friends that would retweet your Twitter, and all you had to do was hit a checkbox and it would automatically set them up. Now, it may not do all 193. It may do 32. It may do 13. It may do 150. But you see, we try to keep it very random. But if you had 150 people retweet your Twitter link, you are going to get on the radar of news agencies, press agencies, marketing companies, social media companies. Now, we can't say that your Twitter will actually get a ton of traffic every time it retweets the army, but there may be one or two that gets picked up over the course of a week that drives, somebody may retweet it from a news agency, or an influencer may pick it up, especially through the tagging. And we're doing the smart tagging through Rightly, which if you're part of the API club, you can get the RT Army and the Rightly. So we're putting emojis, we're putting some smart tagging in there of 2 tags. So there's a possibility that this tweet could get picked up by a news agency. And when that happens, your Twitter goes viral. So we give you every chance in the world with this RT Army to possibly go viral. Now, are you going to go with everyone? No, I promise you. Not every Twitter tweet that you make is going to go viral. But if you had one every month go viral and it sends a ton of traffic to your website, that's what the power of this is for. Okay, so we kind of hammered that a little bit. Yeah, you also get followers out of the deal. So that's why we've run this contest, is we wanted to build our army up. I mean, Wayne and I's goal is to have 1,000 here. And over time, we're going to get there. As new people come on, they're going to want to add to the army. Because the benefit of adding to the RT army, even if you're not part of the API club, is you're going to get followers. And vice versa, is you're going to have people follow you back. So, you know, we both like the RT Army concept. Now, we haven't turned it on. We're still seasoning the Army because we're not going to hit them with the fire hose. We're going to start out with the garden hose first. Okay, so let's get back to finding feeds. So that was the method that I used using this content, using RSS Ground. And guys, sometimes it takes a long time to do. I mean, I'm showing you exactly what I do here. Drone journalism, RC groups, trying to find a good photography. So I'm going to come over here, UAVs. News about UAVs. Let's type in drone photography. I think it's aerial photography. Okay, there we go. Let's take a look at these. And foreign language, I'm not going to mess with. Okay, let's just jump there. And let's look at her site. Okay. And I'm looking at dates. You may not have seen me look real quick. 2017, you're not, and this is a kind of clue. If it says 0.01, that's the number of updates per week. So there's probably not a lot of updating going on here. 2017, yeah. So I'm not going to use any of those. So let's talk, when you did mention photography. So let's look at if we were doing this research, okay? And you can also sort by update frequency. Okay, photography on we heart it. Let's take a look at that. Okay, now what I'm looking at, dates, and this is the description probably. So these are going to be really, really thin posts. So it might be good for Twitter food, but all you're really getting is a good image. Title kind of sucks as far as I'm concerned. Neon, nature. So I would not use that. Let's go down here. Look at that. Okay. Interesting. It's a photographer. Still is kind of boring. Recent photography. Okay. Here's a good one. If you're doing a real estate site, photography for real estate. Again, that's kind of boring. Photography board panda. This would be probably a good one here. Yep. So I would use this 40 pics of a family, and it has a little bit of content. Look at the dates. So I'm looking at the dates at the whole time. So this is pretty good. So let's go over. I'm going to end that and copy the feed. Now, while we're in here, I'm going to show you a little bit about XML. This is the channel data. Okay. Now, what I'm looking for on XML is I'm looking for, here's the title of the RSS feed. See how much content's in here right now? And I say content, the description, and anytime you see this, content, that means that you have a very deep, very rich RSS feed. So that's what I'm kind of looking for. Now, I'm not going to read what RSS feed, I'm not going to try to read the XML. I'm just looking for big sections. Big sections like this indicate that there is some content associated. And I see some images also. So this is how much I read on the XML. So I can kind of tell that's going to be a good one, but let's see what it looks like. So I'm going to go over here to RSSMasher and create ad. Photography. And let's just go ahead and run with that for right now. Website feed, drop it in. Okay, now jump over here to anchor tags and let's go money hooks and come down here and go. Let's go ahead and build up, read more, insert. Hit enter. Let's put some, let's try a new workout. Actually, there we go, grill tools. That's what I was looking for earlier. And now I'm going to put some hyphens. And all I want to do is make sure I can see the end of the post. That's what I'm using this for in my evaluations or reviews. Okay, and give it a couple line feeds. So now we should be able to see it pretty good. And come over here to build, hit build. Preview web. Okay, this is going to be a good one. This has a lot of pictures, 40 pics of a family using chalk art. This is what somebody would click through to. I mean, it's just interesting. There's some great content. It's got to make you laugh too. So that would be a good blog post to put in your own blog, just for something fun and interesting. And this is something that people would share. So, you know, you want to give good citation back because, you know, it's image credits, read more. There's my Amazon. There's my citation. Okay, here's another list. So you can tell dogs, people, chalk art. This is a great one. So I would definitely use this. Now, what I'm going to do though is I'm going to come over to MASH and I'm going to come down here and strip out the image, the HTML, and let's see, let's do 2,000 characters. And then I'm going to push it over to somewhere else. Now, I don't have a specific, in fact, what I'll do is I'll put it in SpinPix. That's just an image site that I'm building up. So I'll hit update. And maybe I'll come over here, I'll just put fun photography. Hit update again. And now I can come over to build and see what it looks like when I'm stripping the HTML and limiting the characters. Okay, so you see, okay, there it is. Image credits. Then we have a read more. So this would be a good way to me to do this is don't show all the pictures, give the author credit where credit's due, and put your links in there. And you're going to get the traffic flowing through your website just doing this. And if they want to read more, they'll have the link. For some reason, that read more is not working there. So we've got some interesting photos in there. And Wayne, we might have to check on that read more, didn't work there. Work there though. Okay. So anyway, you kind of see what I'm talking about here. I would hit finish and activate, and I've got a good one.
I would say the link is wrong.
Okay.
In the feed, so it created an error.
That makes sense.
Because if it worked underneath in the next article.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So just a quick review is I went into RSS ground, got content, hit boom, type it in here, and drone, set my filters up, and that's the way I'm using RSS ground. Okay, so let's go back, and I spent a little bit too much time on that, but let's see the other tools that we're looking at too. Come back here on my slideshow. Okay, now let's talk about Feedly. So I'm going to hop over here. Make sure I got the right. Okay, here's Feedly. Now, if you've been on some of our other calls, I like using Feedly because I do Google Sheets with it. And I'll show you, let's talk about Busy Bee Films. Keep with our drone niche today. So I'm going to go in here, and I've set up Leo. Now, Feedly, I'm using the, I guess the pro version that has Leo with it. And Leo's kind of a smart little Autobot that will find the ones that I like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look through, these are all from feeds. So drone videos, show you where the feeds are coming from. These are all the feeds that I have set up inside of Feedly. So I'm monitoring all these, and you'll notice you've already seen some of these. So let's close that. So it collects all the feeds. Leo is looking through Busy Bee Films through that feed, and it's going to recommend the ones that I put into a board. So I'm just going to go in, and I've already tagged a few of these. This is an interesting drone. This is an asparagus field. So you can't really even tell what it is until they tell you exactly, what the video's of. So let's come in here and reflecting rear lights. Kind of interesting. So I'll hit boom, save it to a board, and come down here, drone video, reopen North Carolina with a protest. And I'm going to save that. So I just added 2 more to the board. Ooh, green snake. That's an interesting image. So I'm going to put that in there. So I've got 3 in there. Now, what I've done is I've set up, not in that Chrome window, it's in this one. If I have set up a Zap, and on the Zap, let's go look at the Busy Bee film. Actually, I don't want to mess that one up since we're running it right now. So I'm going to look at Bass Fishing Board. So on Feedly, if I move something over to the Bass Fishing Board, which is bass fishing right here. So I move, okay. Oh, this is a good one. Finesse tips for fishing crystal clear water. I'm going to hit move to bass fishing. And best topwater tricks. That's another good one. Bass fishing. Now I'm doing this for a client, so I don't want to send too many over to my client's site right now. So let's go back over to Zapier. And what I've done on Zapier is I've created a Zap, and I'm using the account. It's the lowest paid account. So I go into article. I'm going to choose. It's Feedly new. So anytime it's going to trigger this event, anytime there's a new article in the board, choose the account and choose my Feedly, and it's coming out of the board bass fishing. Find data. So that's the data it's pulling, and it pulls a lot of really good content out. Now I put in this little trick right in here is I want to convert. I'm going to choose the formatter. I'm going to convert the time, date and time to the correct format. And Wayne and I can show you later on how to do this. But our input is that, but we're going to convert it to this format, to time zone, UTC. And so that's how we're running, and we're changing the timestamp that's coming out of Feedly to the correct date format. Okay, so let's done editing. Now I'm going to a spreadsheet, and this is a G sheet that we actually set up ahead of time with RSSMasher. So it's going to Google Sheets. I'm going to create a spreadsheet row. So I'm just going to add it as a row on my spreadsheet. Choose account, customize spreadsheet. You got to tell it which one. And I'm going to sheet one. I'm going to put in here, here's the date, here's the title. I'm going to skip description. I don't really need that for what I'm doing. Link, content, article. In fact, let's go ahead and we'll put in something in here just to have article title, URL. Article summary, no HTML. That's what I want. That's what I'll put in there. So I'm filling up a spreadsheet. So when I hit continue, we're ready to go. Now I'm going to turn it on, make sure it's on. Now I'm going to come over here to bass fishing. And you'll notice it just added some content to it. So here's what it's added is these two rows here. And now this may, because everything's kind of compact in here, it does a pretty good job. So now I'm going to come over here to my RSSMasher Tech, and I want to catch that G sheet. So I think I already have one for bass fishing and for the drones. Yep, here's my G sheets, Busy Bee Films here. I don't know if I have a bass fishing in there, but let's look at the G sheets. And I'm going to hit view. Come over here to build. Oops. I probably need to rebuild it, don't I, Wayne?
Yeah. If it's active, what's the build date say? The build date and time?
It was from earlier today. G Sheets, Busy Bee Films, let edit, and I'm just going to rebuild it now. Okay, and hit preview web. Okay, so you see the ones that we just brought in. That is a great drone shot right there. Here's the snake. So these are kind of thin. This is okay. It's got good content with it. This one doesn't have very good content with it. So I need to be a little bit more selective on my Feedly, what I push into the board. But the beauty about it is the way it's set up, it's automated. So this is what I do when I'm sitting there watching TV is I would come in here to my, what Leo has recommended, Amazing Hamburger, and I'm looking for some good articles, mustard marinated chicken sandwiches. Hey, that looks good. So I want to place it into my website. And the way I do it is through automation. Okay, so it's going to the board. So this article is going to the board, and then it's going to G Sheet through automation, through Zapier. And then from G Sheet, it's going into the MASH. And from the MASH, it goes through to the schedule. So probably by tomorrow, you'll see this on Amazing Hamburger. And I don't have to do anything else. It's all set it and forget it type technology. Now, wide cut individual. Okay, this is a good article right here. And I'm just going to add it to the board. Okay. So that's how easy it is to set up. Once it goes through the board, you can do things. It can trigger either Integromat or Zapier. We like using Zapier for this process because Zapier pulls the content, no HTML. So it does a lot for you. It does a little bit more than Integromat does. Now, I also use Feedly for some other stuff, and this is what I want to show you on that. Let's go back to maybe let's go to bass fishing. Okay, I've got 1, 2, 3 sources there. So let's come over here and we'll follow some new sources. Bass fishing. Okay, so it's telling me which ones I'm already following and the ones that I'm not following. So this bass fishing forum, 91 followers, 852 articles per week. I may want to see, but let's look at it first. Okay, very, very thin articles. It's not gonna help my blog any. But down here, it's giving me suggestions. Fan fish on Bass Fan News, 70 followers, 6 articles per week. Let's take a look at it. Okay, Olympic style celebration in Ozark, Santa. So this may be interesting. Maybe something I want to add in there. So what I'm going to do is hit follow, and I'm going to put it in bass fishing. Now that's how I do my research for Feedly, is I let Feedly suggest which ones to put in there. And I can kind of look at followers here, 1 article per month. These are probably not anything I'm interested in, 1 article per month. Okay. So that's about it. Now, I know Adrian's on the call. Deep sea fishing. Let's call it ocean. So again, I'm just showing you, this is the actual research, saltwater fishing. Here's some ideas. You know, so you might have to play around with Feedly a little bit to get some better fishing, fly fishing. There's a lot on fly fishing. So if you're doing any type of niche research, Feedly has a free version, and just use the free version and just start typing in your niches like photography. Can you build a good auto blog with photography? 149,000 followers. This is a good article for photography, 15 articles per week. I already know this is going to look good. It's real thin post. These are thin feeds, but you can build it. You can use this for Twitter food if you want, or any social food. 1 article per month. So I use Feedly for different research. So kind of want to move on past that. Now let's look at a tool that I have, and is Feed Finder. Oops. Trying to end this here. Let's close that out because I need to get to this Feed Finder. Now, I used to use this a lot more when Firefox had the ability to view the feed instead of view the XML, but this still works. So I want blogs and authority mode, and let's talk drones. Hit search. Now what it's going for is it's going to go out and find all the drone blogs. And so now drone enthusiast, I already know about some of these, but here's the cool thing. You can go to the website itself, or you can go to the feed. Now, some of them are the this blog at FeedSpot. And don't ever use those. Those are just, it requires you to sign into your FeedSpot account. They're lead capture for FeedSpot. I don't even know why people use that. But a lot of times I will just drive back to the original site to look for it. So best travel zone. Okay, let's go with this, best travel zone. Let's look at the feed, and we're going to see it in XML version. Okay, there's some images in there. Okay, I can tell right now this is going to be, it does have content, and it has some page breaks and stuff like this. So this might be a good one to look at. So I'm going to copy. Oops. That's the one I want. So I'm just going to copy this. And again, I'm just going to come over here and manage mashes, and let's just drone feeds. We could toss it in there. Hit edit, add website feed. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this off temporarily, and I'm going to add this feed in there. It's checking it first. Okay, that one didn't approve, so I need to go to, let's look at some other ones then. So what I may do is I'm going to go back in and look at the original source, and I'm going to show you a tool that I use. This is a get RSS feed URL. Okay, so I'm going to copy that URL, and now I'm going to come back to here, and it's probably the same one. So that feed is not going to verify. And some of them, you know, occasionally you're going to run into blog posts that don't verify feeds in our system, because we're looking for a very standard RSS format. So let's find some other feeds. So I'll go back to RSS Feed Finder, best drone for the job. Let's look at the feed. Okay, it looks like a standard feed. We'll copy that. Go here to RSSMasher, see if we can paste it in there. Okay, that looks like that's going to work. So let's go over to build. Preview the web. Okay, very thin feeds, no video, no image coming across. So let's go look at some other ones. And that looks like a standard feed there. So let's drop down here, drone life. I'm going to pull that one. That says it has an image. So let's look drone life and come back here, paste that in. And I'm going to turn off that one so it doesn't affect anything. Hit build, build. And preview. Okay, drone life, I couldn't, it's not pulling images out of it. So, you know, this is the research part that you have to go through to find your best feeds. Now, what I'm going to do is, let's see, make drone authorities, sidewalk, top drones for beginners. Let's just go to the site itself. And hit OK. Come up here, see if there's a direct feed. There we go. Now, top drones. I'm going to just pull the direct feed. So I'll hit copy. Come over here, and I'm going to add that feed. Turn off drone life. Verifying. And I'm going to turn drone life off. Actually, I didn't. Okay. We'll hit build. preview web. We're not doing very well on our images, are we? So and the content's not very thick either. It's all sitting in description. Let's go back here. But you can kind of see what I use this for. Now, here's the other thing that you can use it for is you can bring in Tumblr accounts. You can bring in YouTube. So let's clear all. And let's say that you want, in fact, FeedBurner is not a bad deal either. So we know if it's in FeedBurner, it's probably going to work inside RSSMasher. And we're just checking for images and good content. And it looks like there's no FeedBurners coming in. So let's come back over here and change it to YouTube. Hit search. Okay. Now here's some YouTube channels. So you can make this into your YouTube search. In fact, there's that one that says drones made easy and RC Savior. So I'm just going to copy this. Let's go in. There's the feed. So I'll copy that out. Wayne, do we need the feed, the direct feed?
No. Channel, playlist, or user ID.
Okay, so I need to copy this one then. So I'll copy that, go back to drones, add YouTube. Okay, so that converts it to the right.
It converts it for you and makes it easier for people to just copy and paste.
Let's turn this off here and come over to build. And so you can use that feed finder to find different types of feeds in here. Now the featured image won't come across here on the RSS feed, but we pick it up inside of the schedule. So we'll be able to do an embed and a featured image when we pull the schedule on it.
You do it there in the first tab.
Oh, you need to come back. Oh, back here?
Yeah.
Okay, embed YouTube content. Okay. I'm going to take that out. That's probably the thing messing with it.
If you see the, you've got extra controls now. You've got thumbnail, image, description.
Okay. There we go. Okay. So we'll come over here and pull the YouTube channel. Yes, I would be lost without Wayne sometimes. Okay. Now you see, okay, so it's got the embed, it's got a featured image. Okay. So this would be pretty good. So what I would do is just come over here and finish and activate. And I'm going to actually change the name. Drone Feeds YouTube. So I know it's a YouTube. Hit update. And we're set up, ready to go. So that's how I use this RSS feed finder. Is I use it for blogs. I use it for, you can use it for Tumblr. You could pull Vimeo, but you can't do anything with Vimeo inside of RSSMasher. I would just stick with YouTube channels, but definitely do blogs, FeedBurner. And if you want to redo your Pinterest boards, if you want to just feed Pinterest, this is an easy way to feed Pinterest with just drone pics. So you're letting this tool do all the research for you. Okay, so I'm going to close that out. Let's go back to the slideshow and see where we're at on everything. And I'll hit present. Okay, so I kind of, in reviewing, as I went through this, is I showed you how to look at the XML. You just want a lot of content inside of your XML. So you just make a quick glance. You're also looking for posting frequency. You're also looking for, in fact, I don't want to go. So this is, it's a quick way to do it. Now I'm going to show you two extensions. Actually, Feedly, we showed you that, but I'm going to show you FeedBro and RSS App. And FeedBro it's easy to use, and it's kind of just a monitoring system for you. Let's see. Okay, here's FeedBro right here. Now, what I'm going to do is pull up some sites like Sidewalk, Daily, Top Drone. Okay, so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to look to see if it even has a feed. So it does have feeds. So I'm going to come over here to feed, find feeds in the current tab. And so I'm going to track this one, let's say. I hit subscribe. And then I'll hit close. So in here, I'm going to open my feed reader, and so you can kind of see new content coming through. So this one's daily 25 ways to use social media. If you'll notice the dates on there, this is probably not a good feed to have. But celebrity gossip, this is the other one that I watch. So I'm using kind of Feedly to just be a quick review. And then the other thing is I feed my WordPress sites back in here as an example. Let's go to Busy Bee Films. So I'm just making sure that it is picking up the new feeds coming across. Actually, it hasn't read this one in a while. I need to update that, I think. Online exercise programs, there we go. Spin picks. And you can kind of see, so this is a way to monitor that feeds are getting posted into your WordPress site, is I'm bringing the WordPress sites into this FeedBro. Now, the other one I wanted to show you was, yes, RSS.app. Now, they have a free version, but they also have a paid version. I think this is like $9 a month. I don't use this, but I discovered this the other day. But you can create your own feed. So if you want to Google News, and let's say we're going to just do technology, or we'll do sports. Hit generate. And it's going to generate I'm going to copy that to my tracking, and I'm going to hit preview. So you can actually create content from the RSS app feed. See, notice how it does have a feed to go with it. So come back over here, my feeds, and Google News search. So this is the feed that you would copy over to RSSMasher. And so they're building a feed. The only problem is these are really thin feeds. Great for Twitter food. You get a good title, image, 1 or 2 sentences, and then that's it. So that's all it's going to give you going over. Now, this was not one I would actually want to use. So let's go back to my feeds. Here's NPR, okay? So I'm going to go in here. Here's the feed you would copy to RSSMasher Tech. And I'm going to hit preview. Okay, you notice they got some podcasts in there. And I may not want podcasts, but this is it's an okay feed, but it's very, very thin. So this is what you may want to feed social networks with. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that as an option for you. I'm not recommending yes or no on that. I'm just showing that as options. Okay, and I showed the Feedly. Let me show you real quick on Feedly too. It has a Chrome extension. So let's say that Sidewalkers is one that I wanted to add to Feedly. Come up here to Feedly. save to board, view, and Feedly, or I can follow. So if I follow, it's going to put it into an RSS feed reader. I can save it directly to a board. So this is something that, you know, you may want to consider is you could take this post, save it to a board like Bass Fishing or Busy Bee Films, and it would automatically try to transfer over to your G Sheets. So just some ideas in here. That probably wouldn't transfer very well because there's a lot of ads on that one. So it would primarily just go to the blog. This is the way that I would use it.
Incidentally, Feedly's also got a native app for your phone. So you know what you were doing earlier on the desktop, adding things to boards. You can do on your phone from anywhere. You could be fishing. You could be on the bus. You could go, oh, that's a nice article, and you could just do it easily on your phone, and it'll end up in the spreadsheet, and Mash will post it.
Yep. And I use it on an iPad. So and if you wanted to take an article and you've got this on your browser, you could save it directly to a board. Or again, you could follow Sidewalker Daily. But if I save to board and one is, I'm going to put it on a board that's not going to be effective. I'll put it on my car's website. I don't have that one hooked up yet. But then if I had it hooked up, it would go to G Sheets over to Masher. So this is kind of an easy way. You don't necessarily have to have it in your feed reader. Okay, so let's go back to.
Joe says, can you do it while gator hunting? Because that's what he's doing.
Well, you possibly can. When I've went to the lake house a few weeks ago and sitting outside drinking a beer, as I added some content to several of my websites just by using Feedly. So it's pretty easy to use. Then I showed you the RSSMasher Tech way. I use this all the time. I use that build feature. I look at what the site looks like. I add money hooks. I add anchor text. I do my read mores, my citations. I just keep hitting build and build and build until I get it exactly the way I want it. Yeah, you can do either gator hunting or croc hunting, either one.
Walt says, drunk Feedly sounds dangerous.
Possibly. Okay, so methods for using your RSS feeds. You can add it to adding to the masher, either coming in as an RSS feed or a G Sheet or a YouTube channel. Now, I showed everybody how to do this in this call here. Are there any questions on how to get it into the masher with any of these methods here?
Oh, you've done a good job. Deathly silence.
Yeah, there'll be a replay on this. We are recording. So once you get it into the masher, you're not completely done. You've got to send it to a schedule. That's the other part in our flow chart is you've got to send it to the schedule. So I'm going to pull up my flow chart here, see if I can find it real quick. RSSMasher. Oops. Let's bring it over here real quick. And if you don't have this flow chart, check our Facebook page because we have it there for you. And site build. And I made this for a specific reason, is I have this sitting right beside my desk. And I hope that y'all will print this out and have it sitting by your desk too, because when you get it into the masher, here's 3 input methods we have: YouTube, RSS feeds, and G Sheets. You go into Masher with it. You can do image swaps, bunny hook, anchor text, code extraction, replacement. Those are the tabs before you mash it, before you build it. So once you build it, then you're ready to finish and activate right here. Now you have to go into the schedule to get it to your WordPress blog. And in the schedule, you're going to be able to put categories and tags and send it straight to WordPress. And you're going to be able to send it to Twitter groups, the RT Army and Tumblr and Blogger. I didn't put all of them in here, but the social syndicators is what we're adding to the scheduler. And right now we have Blogger, Tumblr, Twitter. We have all the webhooks that you want and an Integromat. Now, if you've got the API club, you've got built-in spin rewriter, link processor. Rightly does your emojis and your smart tags, and you have the RT Army. So if you've got the API club, you get to do more with this, but you don't necessarily have to have the API club to get all the extra, to get it in here. Is you want to category tag it, send it over to your WordPress. But just because you create the mash doesn't mean it gets into here. You've got to set up your schedule. Then it is a set it and forget it type of system. Okay? Yep. So if you don't have this spreadsheet or this workflow, I think if you go into Facebook, I'll post it in the RSSMasher group again. Yes, the dashboard is on the tab. It is inside the dashboard is the API club, which we've jumped in and out of the API, the Masher. So if you're in the dashboard, if you want to join the API club, and we try to, it's $29 a month, but we've got, I think our expenses are actually more than, we got some expenses in here. As we get the link processor, we got the spin rewriter, we get the rightly cost us a lot of money every month. And now we're adding the RT Army, which we just saw we've got 193 in the Twitter. So if you want to join the API club, just click here. And once you set up your payment plan, it's automatically added. We've got 194. So Wayne, I'm going to turn it over to you. I think I've gone through everything fairly well on my side. So we're going to go to Wayne's Google Power Trick. Now this is the power trick here. Wayne, you ready?
Yep. As you can see on there, we can leverage the WordPress popularity. As it says in the slide, WordPress is massive, and we can take advantage of that. As you can see here, it's estimated that there's 455 million websites using WordPress, which is about 20% of the web. But not all WordPress sites are self-hosted, so they're not sitting on someone's server somewhere with an installation of WordPress. They're actually on WordPress's servers themselves. So this means we can use Google to find them. So I shall share my screen.
Yep. Let me stop my share here.
So you should see the login.
Yep.
Okay, I'll just log into Mash. Okay, so if we pop open Google, then what you can do, obviously, if you want to find a site, you could just Google it. I want, technology, for example. I could spell it, technology. And then you'd be sitting there trawling for ages, going through, etc., etc. So the thing to do is all these sites that are hosted on WordPress started life as a subdomain on WordPress. because that's how you set them up. They will have their own domain, and they just look like they're self-hosted from then on. So they'll be fredblogs.com. But they did have probably fredblogs.wordpress.com. So what we can do, Google will have probably indexed 90% of all these because WordPress is a massive authority. So if we're looking for a technology news, that's important, that keyword. We don't just want tech, we want tech news. But then we just simply put site, : which is a key indicator to Google to say, only bring results back that are from the site that I'm going to type next to it. And yeah, you got it. WordPress.com. So we've put the keyword in, technology news, and only bring back sites that have got WordPress.com in them.
You got to put a second S in there.
It might help, yeah.
Okay, let me take a screenshot real quick. Okay. Go. Go for it. I've got it.
Yeah, it's just running a bit slow for some reason. Are we? See the circle going around?
Yeah, still circling. Now I'm sending everybody that screenshot there, so you can have that as your record.
I live in the sticks and we're running Zoom and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know why it took that long, but there you go. So it's brought back, as you can see, WordPress, 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 WordPress. These are all WordPress sites. So now we can just simply look. We'll look at this first one. So I'll open it in another tab so we can keep the results on the screen. Now, have you noticed it's futurism.com? But we fooled it in finding it because it used to be, it's still indexed in Google as, let's have a look, what does it tell us? There, WordPress / discover WordPress. See, it's actually indexed an article. Can you see in the bottom left-hand corner of my screen? Yep. Where it's got the article off WordPress, but when we click it, it bounces to the domain. So now we know the domain. We know it's a WordPress site, so we can put / feed on the end, and we'll get the feed. And if you look at this actual feed, looks pretty decent. It's got content. So we will grab that and we'll go over to Masher and we will tech demo. That's not going there. Edit that one. We'll go to add website feed. We'll drop it in. Click add. And there it is. I'll take that down to 10. And we'll just go to build and we'll have a look. Preview. Now about that, we've now got, it looks like it's duplicated, but that is the title and picture that's in the description. And then from here down is the content. And there's the image. It's got an Elon Musk article. There's the text. There's some nice pictures in the next article. Now, of course, we can go to the filters, and we can start filtering out things that we're interested in to narrow it down a bit more. But you can see that it didn't take very long to find that first one. And then obviously we can, there's another one here, the Australian News Corp. So if we open that in the new link, you can see it's, did you see it quickly bounce to its domain? So we've kind of used Google's search power to trick into finding the actual domains of the websites. And because we've got that extra bit of search as the type of sites we're looking for. Now on here, we can go back to the root domain and we can type feed, and we'll get the RSS feed for this one. Eventually. Oh, there we go. Just a bit slow at the moment for some reason. So you could look down again. Now you can see we've got description. There might not be any content in this one, but obviously you can copy that feed and you could put it into Mash, just like we did the other one. No, doesn't like that one. Okay, you get the idea of how quick we can search and find. So if you wanted to find something else like cars, we've now got auto news driving. We could look at that one. Oh, this looks nice. Now, you can actually, if they categorize their website, because it's WordPress, they've got different categories. They've got latest news, auto, you know, and reviews, research. If we look at, see I'm on auto news, if we do /feed, if that gives you a feed, then you know you can categorize, as it does, we can categorize that website and just get the auto news. Looks like there's bits going on in there. And then if we go back and click on that McLaren article, now that one's in auto news, as you can see there. It's got McLaren, driving.ca, McLaren, auto news, news. Now if you wanted to see if you could narrow it down and get a feed just from this site, just about McLaren, you could just put feed on the end of that. And if it gives you a feed, which it did, you've now categorized you've like niched it down even further from the driving.ca website just about McLaren. So we could copy that. We could add it. I'll just put it in this one here. There it is. And we will pause that one to build. McLaren recalls McLaren, the top 9 performance car hit in the market, a race to invest. Gordon Murray, he was the guy who designed the McLaren F1. So you can see that this is a McLaren niched feed. If you'd want to use it as Twitter feed, maybe there's no content in this feed. But what you could do is you could analyze it and maybe build a template if you really wanted the articles from there, and you could scrape the originals and bring them back. It's a little bit more work, but still doable. So what you've got to remember to do is niche. I found that putting news afterwards helps, because if I remove the word news and run it without it, you still get WordPress sites about cars, but sometimes they're like people wanting to sell cars more than it's blog information. You don't always get. I suppose try it, see how you get on. But I've found that if you put the news in, you do get like more kind of blog article kind of websites.
Yep.
So remember, niche. News, site:/wordpress.com, and it will find you a plethora of websites with feeds to obtain.
Yep. Wayne, there's a real good suggestion from Walt, and Walt, I do this too, is best in your Google search box, type in best RSS feed for and then put the niche subject in there.
Yeah. But then you wouldn't want that.
Right. Take that out. Yeah. Yeah, this is a easy, it's an easy way to find your best ones.
The car connection.
So you could do like concept cars as one, car reviews, tips and advice. So there's a lot of good content you can pull from these. And you know, the disconnect we've had with a lot of users on RSSMasher Tech is, okay, I found the feed, now what do I do with it? Well, you got to put it in a mash and, you know, do your image swap, money hooks, whatever you want to do. And then you got to put it in a schedule. And then the schedule's got to go over to your WordPress or to your Twitter, and then link your RT Army, all the connections come in off of the schedule. Hope all that makes sense. Now we're right at an hour and a half. I know we've been geeking a long time on RSS feeds. Do we have any questions that Wayne or I can answer for you? We covered a lot, and it is being recorded.
Is there a past webinar about template scraping? Yes, there is. We did it in some of the early stuff, didn't we? It's in your Kajabi back office. The Bugatti's on order, Don. Don's asked me, where's the Bugatti? Yeah, Chris said, if you go back to the root, wouldn't that give you all the categories on the news site? Yes, it would. If you then want to filter it down, like let's say it was a car site you found and it's got all kinds of different models, you might want to break it down by the models, because that's the categories that you've got on your site. So you might want to put Ferraris in a Ferrari category rather than lump them all together. You could go to the root, but then you'd have to use keywords to filter them out.
Yep.
But an article about a Ferrari against a Bugatti Veyron would come out as one article that you'd post to 2 categories potentially. So you have to be careful there. Not that it's, it doesn't really matter. If you really like kind of want to get it dead on, then it's best to get it to the category.
Okay, and talking about G Sheets is integration. We've done several several webinars and have included the Zapier method in there. Probably down the road is I will, in the next few weeks, is if I get some time, is I will go step by step. I'll make a little workflow process chart with how to get your Feedly through Zapier into G Sheets. Maybe a very specific training on how to do that. It's really easy once you get 1 or 2 of them done. You just basically copy the template and keep on going. Now, one of the things, Wayne and I did a lot of research on Integromat and Zapier on the G Sheets. The biggest difference that we have is they both can be triggered by a new article coming into a board. So that was the plus mark. The only problem is the data that Feedly is sharing with Integromat, sometimes the content doesn't come across. Whereas on Zapier, the content comes across every single time on all the tests that we've ever done. So we want a really nice post that anything that we see on Feedly, we want it inside of our WordPress post. So we want the content to transfer over. And what we have found is Integromat would not bring the content all the way over to G Sheets. That's the reason we don't use Integromat for G Sheets. Okay, Dom has a good question. Knows you had thin content and long content. Please elaborate more. The thin content is, you'll see in content maybe 1 sentence or 2 sentences. So a blog post, normally when you go to a blog to read a blog, you would expect more than 1 paragraph or more than 2 sentences. So we want long content. We want the original content, or full content as some people call it. So we want 3 or 4 paragraphs. We want, if you have a recipe, as an example, you want the full recipe. You don't want, the cookies taste good. You want how to make the cookies taste good. You want all the ingredients with it. So that's full content or long content. So when you're doing your research, you want to make sure that you're keeping that in mind. What are you going to use this RSS feed for? And if it's thin content, 1 or 2 sentences, then you may want to consider using it for Twitter food. If it's got a good image and good title, and you don't mind sending it back to the original article link, you could certainly use it for Twitter or Blogger Food, Tumblr. That's another good place to put it. Because what we've always expressed, what I have, is you got to have entertainment, you got to have educational, and you got to have branding. And entertainment and educational is 80% of your blog, of your social media content. So you got to feed it with something. Feed it, and we talked about this last week. How do you feed it? What methods? How do you promote the feeds? So you got to feed your Twitter, feed your Facebook, feed your Tumblr accounts, and you got to give them good content. So let somebody else do the writing for you. Let somebody else give you the good pictures for it. Okay. Yep. Any other questions that we might could answer on this?
Don't think so. I think we've covered it all. What's for dessert? Scott says.
Dom asked a good question. Are there any limitations how many posts per day so accounts will get banned using most likely new social accounts for a new website? I like to drip feed my content into social posts to get them warmed up. And I showed you last week with several tools that I use. I use BluePage. I use a buffer to drip feed content. I also use Promo Republic, and I use RSSMasher Tech. And Wayne, I'm going to take over my screen real quick.
Yep. I mean, what you can do is obviously set up your information going to your WordPress, and let the articles may be building up, but just schedule them out 1 or 2 a day, and then they'll be going to the social medias that's attached to the schedule. So they'll be going out slowly, and then over time you can go into the schedule and you can increase it to, say, rather than 2, do 4 or 5 a day instead.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've done. Is, if you'll notice, I have a lot. Every new Twitter account I have, I'm feeding it. And edit. So I'm doing 2 times a day. I'm spacing them about almost 5 hours apart. And these are political tweets. And so I'm just feeding my news sites. I go to Twitter. I'm going to hit it. Wow. Since the call, we got 206 Twitter accounts. I think we need to announce the winner. Then I'm also sending out to Blogger. So I use this as my social food. And I want people retweeting all my social food, my social Twitter food. So, keep that in mind, is when you bring in a new Twitter account to your world, is you might want to feed it for a little bit before you start sending a whole bunch of content to it. So that's exactly what I'm doing, is I got a bunch of Twitter feed. And what I did here is Samantha Thompson. She is a vid minion. She is a completely made up person. But her Twitter account, I gave her a persona. She's an oceanographer for the Scripps Institute. And she likes whales. So I send whale videos and whale tweets over to her Twitter account. So it does make it look like she's an oceanographer talking about whales. So keep that in mind, is if you have a Twitter that has a personality or a job description, make sure they have, articles, Twitter, videos, images concerning that job. If they're a blogger, they could be blogging about anything. So most of my Twitter minions are social media people. So you can expect anything from them. This lady here, this Parrot JS Ryan, she's a travel agent. So I send travel tweets over to her. And this guy, Lindsay Escobar, she is a software programmer. So you can see I'm sending stuff over to my Twitters that are very niche, what they're related to. I have a Twitter that's all about auto racing. So I feed it with auto racing stuff. Hope all that makes sense. Any other questions we've got before we end the call today? I think once it feeds it. Chris asks a question. Can you change the name author of who posts once it feeds into the blog site? Yes, you can. You just go in and edit the post and you can change it. Do you have a page?
Sorry, go on.
Go ahead.
Now, one of the tricks I do is I add a new user to the WordPress as an editor, and then you can create any name you want, and then use that as the authentication in Masher, so that it always adds new ones with the editor's name, because then you can invent anybody you want, you know, Joe Soap, whatever. You can create what's that thing WordPress calls? Gravatar, is it?
Yeah, Gravatar.
Yeah, when you can create a profile for that person, and then the image will be pushed across to WordPress so that they've got a picture as well. And then in WordPress, if you've got any of the other, you can bulk select them and just change the author to the other one, and it will change them all for you in one go.
Yeah. And there's some auto tagging feature plugins that you can add that, you know, if you have a certain tag that it will force a publisher to that based on that tag. And we had talked about that last week with this new little feature Wayne added. And I'm going to go back into the schedule. And I'm in the schedule right now. Okay. So if you're doing, let's say, Busy Bee Films, edit that schedule. And remember this little ID right here that's the ID to the mash. So you could actually catch that as a tag. I'm going to come over here to WordPress. And let's say I come down here to my tags and I put in that ID number, 957. So 957, you can have something on the WordPress plugin that's looking for a tag that's 957, and it will change the publisher to Bob Smith, whatever publisher you want that is already in your WordPress user accounts. So, you know, you can use the tagging to make sure it tags a specific author if you want to do that. Now, this works some of the time and on certain themes. Don't trust that this is going to work for every single WordPress or every theme. It's where we have the original author content and it posted into your new WordPress. You just have to play around with that button, but you can actually force it if you want down through tagging. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. Walt asked a real quick question. Do you have a paid source for verified social accounts? Yes. And I will share this next week. I paid, I want to say $90. No, it was less. It's, I think $70. I got 10 Twitter accounts, 10 Google accounts, 10 Google Voice, and 10 YouTube channels. So those 10 Google accounts had all the properties fleshed out with it. And they were aged Twitter accounts. The problem is when I went to verify, they had messed up the Google Voice and everything on there. So out of the 10, I got 9 of them that verified, but it took me 3 hours to do that. So I don't know if that's a good deal for people. I'm waiting on the guy to send me the replacement Twitter account, and we'll see how good it is. But I also bought 100 Google accounts with YouTube channels, and I can go in and create bloggers and Google Voice and all that with those 100 accounts. So I do have a source. I just want to make sure it's a good source before I give you that information. And it's very, very affordable. Any other questions before we hang up here?
Are we going to do the Army?
Oh, yes. We got to announce the Army winners.
I've just updated the dashboard, and I think that's going to be the final stamp.
So if we had a drum roll, 214 accounts. Garen Green, he has won, and he will get a $50 Amazon gift card, and he's going to get a free API club. Now, he's already part of the API club, so he just saved himself $360 a year. So congratulations, Garen. Michael Paul, he came in second. Lee Walder's third, and I'm not qualified on here. Simon White, you got number 4. Ralph came on right at the very end. He wasn't even on the leaderboard yesterday. He got 5th place. So congratulations. We'll be sending out to everybody here, all the 5 there, instructions on to get your Amazon card, or I think the 4th place and 5th place, they're going to get image packs. So we'll send you out an email or a Facebook Messenger, and we'll get you your prizes. And congratulations, guys. We did this to get 214 accounts. We won 1,000 in there, and we will over time. But yeah, Ralph pulled in right at the very end there. So we're very, very excited about having this RT Army, because it not only are you going to get follows, you're going to get likes, and this is going to get you on the radar. And we are seasoning the RT Army, so it's probably going to come online maybe slowly. We're going to do like I guess the COVID-19, the phase in. We may only use 25% of them, and then 50%, and then 75%. And eventually, within a couple of weeks, we're going to be using all 214. So, guys, congratulations if you're a winner. If you participated, thank you very much. And keep on adding to the RT Army, because this is going to give you followers. And it's really easy to add them in there. Just go in and hit the checkbox. But the thing I want to point out is, if you want to use Twitter groups, if you have your own set of Twitters and you don't want to share, that's fine. You can set them up in Twitter groups. So you would come over here, Twitter groups. And I have my Twitter minions. These are ones I'm not sharing. These are my own personal ones that I've seasoned up over time. And Renee's Passion, I think she has 3,000 followers. She posts 10 times a day. I'm going to keep her private. So all these are private ones that I'm not sharing into the RT Army, and that's fine. But to get to use this function of Twitter groups, you have to contribute one of your soldiers, your Twitter, to the RT Army. Whether or not you're in the API club or not, to access this one feature, you just have to contribute one to the Army. And the way you do that, come over here to Twitter, and I'll go, these are all the new accounts I brought on. So to add them to the Army, just hit the checkbox. That's all there is to it. And guys, I think that's it. We're at an hour and 50 minutes. And thank you very much for your time today. And next week, we're going to change it up a little bit next week. I may have our SEO expert join us for a really special look about how we're building WordPress sites and how we're siloing and categorizing. The call next week that I originally intended was the Yive. Marcus was going to join us and talk about Yive, but he's got some scheduling conflicts, so we're going to move that to the 15th. And we're going to geek out through the end of May. And we may extend it longer depending on, engagement that we have with it. But it does take us time to prepare all this. And, we're not making any money. We're just kind of showing you what we're doing with everything. And we want to our goal is make you so comfortable using RSSMasher Tech that you don't even think about it. You set it, you forget it, and you get traffic. So Wayne, any closing before we leave?
Well, I was thinking about dropping a tidbit, but it's not going to happen now. But I suppose I've got to now, haven't I? The RT Army ain't going to stop at just Twitter accounts. I'll leave it at that.
Are you saying there might be other social accounts joining us?
There might be something else beginning with T. We may be adding at some point.
Well, good.
And ends in umbla.
Well, good deal. Guys, thanks for the call, thanks for joining us on the call today, and hope you enjoyed everything. And I'll have the replay up probably in about 4 or 5 hours. Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.